Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Anna and today we're going to be doing a fall inspired makeup look. So if you are interested in how to achieve this look, then just keep watching. Alright, so first things first, what you're going to want to do is make sure you moisturize your skin. Your makeup is just going to look that much more flawless. Go in with the Estee Lauder Daywear Moisturizer. For primer today, I'm going to go in with the SmashBox Photo Finish Primer. These are totally up to you depending on what your skin goals are. I like a lot of Radiance preferably for myself. Some people are very oily that need a oil controlling mattifying primer. Some people's issue is pores, but today I'm going for glowy as always. For my foundation, I'm going to be using the Estee Lauder Double Wear Light Foundation. I've absolutely been loving this for kind of full coverage, medium to full coverage. It varies. It's very buildable. And I'm just going to take some of my Monat Rejuvenate oil that I always use, multi-use magic oil, and I put just a little bit with my foundation because again I am going for a more radiant glowy look, and this just kind of helps my skin naturally look dewy without looking oily. And then I'm just going to take my Real Techniques beauty sponge and just blend that in. And this is my summer foundation, so I'm going to make sure to match it to your neck because you never want to look like you have a mask on. Next, I'm going to be using concealer. I'm going to go in with this Under Eye Brightening Corrector by Becca Cosmetics. Looks like that. This is one of my holy grails. I'm just going to take a little bit of that because it's very concentrated and just kind of apply it like so and use my Real Techniques sponge to kind of blend it out a little bit. And I do like to take this up onto my eye because it does also brighten your actual eye. Like if you can just see the difference in just that one eye compared to. So the Tarte ShapeTape Concealer is one of my favorites if you are a full coverage type of girl. I'm going to use this, go in with the shade light, just go right under my eyes because these are the points that I want to highlight in my face. I always do the upper lip just so it doesn't look like you have a shadow. And I have a little bit of redness around my nose. And I like to make my chin highlight also. So the reason that we do this is because these are the highest points of our face that the light is going to hit, and we want to have that contrast that gives us that really sculpted look. So now that we've done our concealer, we have to set it. And I'm going to be using the Mercier Secret Brightening Powder under my eyes. So I do just use that same sponge while it's still damp, and I dip it right into the powder, the loose powder that I'm using. You can use a translucent powder, you can use any powder that you like, but I just like the brighter under eye look. So I'm just gonna go right where I put the concealer on all the way to the apple of my cheek, kind of like making a triangle. And I'm gonna do that for all the places that we put concealer. Also bringing it up onto my eye because this is gonna help prep the eye for whatever eyeshadow look you're getting ready to do. So I'm gonna move on to the eyes and I'm gonna let this powder sit and bake. This is just my preference. Some people just use translucent powder and just wipe it off and go. That's fine if you're in a time crunch, but I have some time on my hands, so I'm gonna let that bake, and I'm going to start off with my eyes. And of course I'm using the Jaclyn Hill palette by Morphe. I am absolutely obsessed with Jaclyn Hill. I've been watching her for a couple of years now, so I was so excited when she finally came out with another palette. So I'm going to take a fluffy brush. Any fluffy brush you have will do. This is by Morphe. And I'm going to start off with just a neutral, one of these neutral browns, and just work that all over into my crease. Okay, so now that we have that neutral color in our crease, I'm going for a cranberry fall inspired look. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of a darker brown just to kind of deepen things up a little bit and start to carve out my crease. So I'm using the Morphe 350 palette, and I'm taking this shade right here, and I'm just going to take that on the same fluffy brush just a little bit and kind of focus on the outer part of my eye. So next I'm going to be using my Modern Renaissance palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills, which I'm obsessed with. And I'm going to be taking the color Real Gar in the corner, this kind of burnt orange shade, and I'm going to concentrate that in the outer V with the really small blending brush. Just because we want to be a little bit more precise, kind of create a smoky look. I kind of just put my brush here and just lightly tap and gently blend it because you don't want it to go all over the place. You want to make sure that you can keep that concentrated on the outer part of your eye. Blend until your hands fall off. So you have that flawless line. What helps a lot is going back in with your fluffy brush with no product on it and just kind of blending out that harsh line. As you can see now, it looks a lot more seamless. Okay, so I'm gonna take that same tapered brush that we were working with in the outer corner, and I'm gonna dip that into red ochre right here in that same Modern Renaissance palette, and just kind of dot it right on the outer corner. And then when you feel comfortable, slowly working that into your outer crease. Being very light-handed. Okay, so now that we've done that, I'm going to take a pencil brush and take the shade Love Letter from the same palette, and I'm just gonna dot it ever so slightly into this palette and just dab it right in the outer parts of my crease, kind of on the lower part of my eyelid, and just work it. You can use as much as necessary, so I'm just going to take this fluffy brush and kind of blend out what we just did, making it all flow together. So as you can see, just blending that out with a fluffy brush really helps a lot. This eye kind of looks like it needs a little more, so I'm actually going to go in with a tapered brush, the one that we were using with red ochre, and just dip that in and just tap and work. Honestly, it's kind of like a check and balance. It's not as easy as people think to get both eyes to look exactly the same. So now that we've done that, I'm gonna take a flat eyeshadow brush and take that shade Tempura. It's a matte off-white kind of shade. All over my lid. Just building it up, focusing on the inner corner. Doing the same thing, just lightly tapping. You want to control this situation as much as possible. And I know that sounds silly, but this can get very messy very quickly and can be very overwhelming to people that are new. I used to get frustrated all the time because my eyes would just look like two black eyes, honestly. I did learn so much from YouTube, which is what has inspired me to start making videos myself. I remember I would literally not ever buy a beauty product without looking up reviews from these beauty gurus. So now I'm just gonna take that same fluffy brush with no product and kind of just work these two together. The same thing. And I'm just gonna take that same flat brush and just touch up, make the inner corner really pop. So now that we've finished our eyes, I'm gonna move on to gel liner. And I'm gonna be taking my Kylie Cosmetics gel liner. I do like it. I don't feel like it's something that's absolutely necessary. I've used Maybelline gel liner, which you can buy in any drugstore, and it works just fine. But I have it, so I'm gonna use it, and I'm just taking this angled liner brush from Morphe. I personally am going for a wing today. I know everybody goes for their own thing, but I just love a wing, so. Okay, so I am going to be applying false lashes today. This is not something that you need to do for this look, but for the sake of this video and because I'm extra as hell, I need to apply false lashes. I'm just going to be going in with the Ardell Whispies, whatever you prefer. I always go for the wispy look. So before I go in with any false lashes, I'm going to just curl my eyelashes just so they can conform a little bit to the shape of the lash and look more natural. I find that this really helps with application. Kind of just makes your lashes blend right in with the regular lashes. So I'm just using my normal Lash Duo glue, and I'm just going to be applying it right on the strip of the lash. So the best advice I can give for anyone is make sure you let your lash glue dry for at least 30 seconds before you go back in and try to put this wet glue on your eye, because it's probably going to be a disaster. So when you put these on, you want to come in from the top down, if that makes sense. It helps a lot if you look down at yourself in the mirror, because you can kind of see exactly where you're going to place this. But I just use my hands and kind of set it right there. Then I'm going to take my fingers, and my problem area is the inner corner. So I'm going to just make sure to press that down for as long as possible. So again, I'm just going to come in from the top down. Align that with my lash line. Let it sit and just gently press to attach. So I kind of want to let that dry for a second and move on to my lower lash line. As you can see, it's looking a little blonde right now. go right back in with the Modern Renaissance palette that we used earlier. And I'm going to take my tight lining brush and just go in with this burnt orange color, similar to the shade we used earlier, and just work it right along that lash line, lower lash line. This is just going to be our first transition shade. Take more product as you need. And then I'm gonna go in with this red ochre shade that we used earlier on that same tight lining brush. Go underneath your lashes and just wiggle the brush back and forth. Gentle movement. As you can see, that just creates so much more depth to the eye look. I just think it makes it a lot more fun. Taking Love Letter and just adding that for a little pop of color on the very outer corner. I'm gonna take that same pencil brush, no additional product, kind of dust off whatever's on it on the back of my hand, and just blend exactly what we just did. Smoke it out. Drag it ever so lightly towards the inner corner. So I'm just gonna take some mascara, whatever mascara you have is fine, and I'm gonna go back in and just coat my lashes a little bit to help them blend a little bit better with the false lashes. I'm using the Mr. Big Lancome Mascara, which I really love, and you just want a little bit because you want it to still look natural. As you can see, that kind of just brings the eyes awake, and obviously lower lash line. Next, I'm moving on to eyebrows. For my eyebrows, I personally use the Anastasia DipBrow Pomade, no surprise. And I take my Anastasia angled brush and I just dip that lightly in the pomade. And I'm just kind of gonna speed through this quick because I know everybody does their eyebrows differently, so. One thing that I will say is when you do your eyebrows, you always want to start towards the outer tail and keep that the darkest, and then kind of work your way in and blend the product back. That way you won't end up using so much product towards the front of your eyebrows and kind of creating that bushy look that we sometimes tend to have. The power of an eyebrow can make or break someone. So next what we're gonna do is wipe off all the powder that we had set with, even though it's mostly gone by now. I personally do not set the rest of my face, just my oily T-zone, but that's totally up to you, that's a preference. So I'm gonna go in and contour. I've really been loving the Shade and Light palette. Had this for so long, and I kind of just mix these two in the middle because it kind of makes the perfect neutral contour for me. So I'm just gonna lightly mix those and just dab off the excess. And just start right by making that line right in the hollow of your cheekbone and pushing that up. You never want to push down. Now this is buildable, so you can go in with as much as you have necessary.
So next for blush, I'm gonna go in with this MAC Cosmetics blush that I've had forever, which I absolutely love. It's called Margin. And I'm just gonna take that on my Sigma blush brush that I've had. And I always start back towards my ear because I kind of have a round face. So I don't really want to enhance that by putting it on the apples of my cheek. So I kind of want to stay away, and it kind of just pushes the face back. So next, naturally, we're going to move on to highlighter. I'm going to take my Becca Champagne Pop, which I have had forever and is literally down to crumbles. So sad. But I'm just going in with this Sigma stippling brush, and I'm just ever so slightly just dabbing it in there and starting on the tops of my cheekbones because we want to highlight the high points of our face. And I kind of just add as necessary. This is all also a preference, but I like a lot of highlighter, and I really like to put it right on the apples of my cheeks. That way when you smile, it's the first thing people see. It's your beaming highlight. I always take a little bit on the top of my forehead. Kind of just accent the high points of the face. I do the tip of the nose, just a little bit, and my Cupid's bow. And I'm going to use this same highlighter. I'm going to take that same flat shadow brush that we were using, and I'm also going to use this as my brow highlight. For my fall lip today, shocker, guess what I'm using? I'm going to be using my Anastasia, shocker, liquid lipstick, and this is in the shade Craft. It's an oldie but a goodie, but still love it.